that time, that was the first week of January, citizens, and at that time, this next young man who's been on our show a slew of times, he's just been so consistent with his work. From that song we played, Never Let Me Down, featuring Jay-Z, from Kanye West's project, to receiving his NAACP award for his narration of the BET Muhammad Ali documentary, to his Here I Am album, to his Here I Am, the book, to his Dear Father project that he put out. All the way to Ghana. We just played this song, Running, featuring Slick Rick and many others. The video is going to be an award-winning video. I'm fortunate enough to be a part of that video.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Right, yes, I'm actually in that video doing an old-school MTV News-style report. I can't give up too many secrets. There's some heavy hitters in this video. Heavy. And at the time that we shot this video, and at the time that I first met him, he wasn't what he is today. So I have to introduce him differently today than I ever had an opportunity to introduce him at all. Citizens, I want you to give a big round of applause for Grammy Award-winning J.Ivy.
Chi-Town, stand up.
Stand up. Stand up.
In a lot of his work, he'll tell you it's always been a collaborative effort. We got a few friends in here. My man Chance is here. Citizen Chance is here. Sashay, his lovely life partner as well. She's here in spirit. And then I have to give a salute, because when we were in Ghana, I really got to know J.Ivy's better half a little more. And I realized how instrumental she's been in the DNA of his success. Yes. And they say behind every great man is a what, Tracy?
Great woman.
So please welcome Tarrey Torae.
Hey,
she's here too. Come on.
Thank you, brother. Thank y'all so much.
Tarrey Torae.
Thank y'all for being here.
Yeah,
it's
man.
a pleasure and an honor.
Today's a big day, right?
Today's a big day, man. It's the kickoff. The J.Ivy Grammy Celebration Tour kicks off tonight in New York City at Cine Winery.
Wow.
Featuring Tarrey Torae. We got the band with us, and man, it's a celebration, man. I'm hyped to be here, man.
At City Winery.
City
Where's that?
Winery.
That's an alcohol thing. Go ahead.
Why would you even point to me
Right,
like
right.
that? J.Ivy, talk to your man. Get your man immediately. Let him know where you're going to be tonight.
Where's it at?
Where is it at? It's on 15th Street. I know that.
It's
Got
in
the address.
Manhattan.
Somebody got to Google
It's
it.
down off the pier.
Yeah, it's on the pier. It's on the
16th
river.
Street.
Down on the river.
Yep.
City Winery. That was
City Winery.
What you think of that clip I played? Talib was just here yesterday.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. I didn't know that's where that was going. That caught me off guard. I'm like, where's this going? Yeah, that's hilarious.
The real thing,
Talib
Jay,
Kweli.
is it true? Is it true? That's what
I mean, we was celebrating. We was having a good time. Good time.
We had better than a good
Yeah,
time.
it was epic.
What was that Ghana trip like for y'all? Like when you got back and started reflecting on it?
Man, it was just liberating to know that we had the opportunity to go home for the ancestors, for our families, for so many that haven't been able to go back. We were able to do that and represent, and it was just beautiful, man. The energy, the people, the culture, the music, the food. Just everything about it was beautiful.
To me, it was also a reminder, like we're in service right now. We have marching orders to, to fulfill on our ancestors' behalf.
Amen.
Everything they went through, how dare we take our time doing anything? How dare we be lazy? How dare we do anything less? So for me, that was a big reminder, and I came home on fire because I felt like, man, everything we went through, I'm walking with their DNA. Like you talk about DNA, I'm walking with their DNA in me, and they're trying to fulfill certain goals and certain passions that they would have had, and the talents that they brought, to build a country that they was never appreciated for, And so I feel like we walking around with that weight, but we walking around on the shoulder of giants, and we got to fulfill the goals that they had also. So I came back a little heavy from Ghana. I didn't party and smoke, like some of y'all. Just saying.
I didn't either.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
I didn't take one drink because I didn't. Well, I can't think of the name of the restaurant we were at where we played that bogus domino game. And
Oh yeah, you talking the bogus
That
game.
means somebody else won besides Sway.
You talking about the one where I won? You talking about the one we kicked off the new year with the win? That one. That one. Yeah, that was a great win. That was a great win.
The owners of the restaurant were so everybody was black. all ownership,
Everybody.
everything proprietorship, the whole nine, and they had their own tequila. And I was like, yo, I'm not drinking. You know, I was like, it was like, Sway, you all the way in Ghana.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to take a sip.
And how many times you gonna get to say that? You know, and that's why I love what you said, sis. I think what happens to individuals when you realize that your life ultimately is about purpose, service, and obedience, things change for you. You know, your decision making changes.
Period.
Your circles change. That light, you know, comes even in the midst of the heaviness. That light comes on you, and it's like, I ain't got time for that. Like, it's no disrespect for nobody. So I think as much as we all know, like, the burden that we may carry, whether it's in the purpose or the family, whatever, it's so important to support each other and celebrate one another, because we realize it's about the service as well.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is. And that red palm oil over there was a little rough.
Yeah, the palm
oil.
You had
Yeah.
to adjust to it.
Yeah.
You know, they fry everything
in that palm oil.
Yeah.
That was another reason why I came back heavy.
That's what right.
Just kidding.
That's what that liquor was made out of, palm.
Really?
It was palm.
That was palm?
It was some palm.
Red
something.
palm
yeah,
oil.
Red palm.
I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything to cloud my mental, my vision. I wanted to just absorb in Africa, just clear-minded, open-hearted, lucid in the whole nine, because I knew the energy that was going to come was going to intoxicate us. And so every night we were hanging out till 6 a.m. with the party beast, Dave Chappelle. I'm still recovering.
Oh my God,
Dave wouldn't
Chappelle.
let nobody sleep, man. And
Nobody slept. Thanks, Dave.
And so we had a good time. What I found fascinating about Ghana, let's talk about spoken word. You know, how familiar was the communities that you visited to spoken word?
Oh man, the spoken word scene over there was heavy. A lot of poets there. Got a chance to perform over there. Went to a poetry spot. I think it was New Year's Day, New Year's night. We went to a poetry spot and performed, and saw some dynamic poets from Ghana. It was some folk visiting from London, from the States. Big shout out. It was Poetry Me Please was the name of the event. So big shout out to them. They actually from New York, and they took the show over there. And it was just incredible, man. The poets, they doing their thing that way. And it's amazing to see poets represent worldwide, and because our stories are so necessary. So just to hear those perspectives was incredible.
You won the Grammy for
the best spoken word poetry album. The album is called The Poet Who Sat by the Dough.
Yes, and that song Running you can find on it. First to ever win this award.
Yeah.
Because the award never existed prior to this year.
Yeah.
And for years, you along with others like Citizen Chance and the collective, the tribe, have been working with the Grammys to make this happen. Talk about that.
Yeah, so for 6 years, I was introduced to the board and for the Recording Academy. I became president of the Chicago chapter, and which made me the first poet in the history of the Recording Academy to hold a president's seat. There's 12 chapters, so I became the first poet to hold a president's seat. Then I became a national trustee. So there's a spoken word category that has existed. Maya Angelou, she's the only other poet to ever win a Grammy, and she won in this category. But the category included audiobooks, narration, storytelling, and the audiobooks dominated the category.
And the title was different.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that poets had a space. So I went to the board of trustees, like, look, we need to switch this up. So for 6 years, I worked on this. I was getting the information about the recording, about the submission process and what qualifies as an album and all these different things. And I'm like, man, I've been doing this a long time and I ain't never heard this. Chances are other poets don't know this. So I started getting that information back to the poets, hence The Poet Who Sat by the Dough. And then, man, I wrote a proposal, new definition. Big shout out to Jamila Woods, who helped me with that, Matt Hennessy, Omos Keith, and submitted this proposal, and we voted on it and it passed. So this year was the first year in the history of the Grammys that 5 poets were nominated. And big shout out to Amanda Gorman, Malcolm Jamal Warner, my brother Amir Suleiman, Ethelbert Miller, and J.Ivy, and I was able to bring it home for the poets.
For the win.
For the win.
This is for the poets.
For the ancestors.
For the ancestors.
I always
Yes,
wonder
indeed.
how poets feel about the comparisons to rap, and do people at your level feel like rap is giving more value today on the mainstream level than poetry?
Oh, I mean, yeah, on the mainstream level, yes. But we all know that hip hop and rap, it is springboarded from poetry. You know, you have folks like the Last Poets and Gil Scott-Heron, who are the godfathers of rap, the godfathers of hip hop. You know, they took poetry and they added the beat to it, they added the music to it, and then that later evolved into hip hop. So, and you know, and those who know they give credit where credit is due. But poetry, you know, it's I always say poetry is the seed of every song ever written. Some poetry is sung, some poetry is rap, some poetry is spoken. So I'm a hip hop baby. I love hip hop. It's what raised me. I grew up listening to Slick Rick and LL and Run DMC and Big Daddy Kane and all the greats, and MC Lyte and Queen Latifah and all the greats.
And Heather B.
And Heather B, you already know.
Wow.
So like for real, like it's an honor to sit here next to you and to know that we're part of this creative community of storytelling and making sure that our legacy is being written the right way.
J.Ivy is here. Tarrey Torae is here as well.
Yeah.
How many songs have you sang on?
You mean in total for
that people may not know? You sang on.
Well, for Kanye, I'm probably on 38, 40 songs. For J.Ivy, I'm probably on about 200.
All of them.
I'm on about 5 or 6 songs for John Legend. Pete Rock about 5 or 6, maybe 10.
Okay.
Well, she sang on Never Let Me Down.
Yeah.
Family Business.
Yeah.
What's that?
Spaceships.
Yeah. Jesus Walks.
Yeah.
Can you do the Spaceships a cappella real quick? Let me hear what you did.
That was just some of the
You better go. You better go. You better do that. Let me hear Jesus Walks. Let me hear Jesus Walks.
Please, sorry.
just in the background.
But what you do?
Please, sorry.
Boom, 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 boom.
Y'all got it. Hey, come on, quiet.
God, show me the way. Let me down.
Jesus, walk with me.
Come on now, Tarrey Torae.
I used to with Kanye and a few other artists, including Talib and a few other people. I would replace the samples, so I was known in the industry for the person they could call in to replace those samples.
Really?
Because I could make my voice do, you know, some of the sounds that they needed, so they didn't lose the context. So they wanted that sample, but they didn't.
Chameleon.
So would you be in that? Would you be compensated as a how would you be compensated as a studio session
So the original idea, and I'm gonna keep it 1,000.
Okay.
Was that I was supposed to be compensated in the return of favor on some occasions. Some occasions I was paid for my time, and some occasions I was paid in the thought of my time.
Need those beats.
And I never received the beats for those. So let me talk a little bit of 1,000 shit.
Okay.
That I'm still waiting on my beats.
Who owe you beats?
A lot of folk owe me beats.
Pete Rock don't owe you no beats.
Pete Rock owe me a beat.
Yeah, he owe you beats?
Yeah, he owe me a lot of beats. I'm not in a negative space about it. I'm in a beautiful space about it.
Yeah.
But I never received them.
Yes,
And back then, you know, when you're a singer, I feel like singers don't receive, you know, we kind of get the, what do you call it?
Like the tail end of the stick.
Yeah, you just in the studio to make the hook, and okay, yeah, you got who the hook singer.
You're not
nobody. Yeah, nobody's saying unless you like all the way up there, then they'll say featuring, but you don't always get the feature, and you don't always get the mention. You don't always get the credit either. And sometimes when you write on something, you don't get the credit. But I ain't one to gossip. I'm just saying that the real truth is that singers out here are putting in a whole lot in the hip hop industry, and they're not being recognized for it. Now, I am an advocate for singers and songwriters, and I do believe we should be credited properly.
And I think they should get writers credit, because I've seen a lot of times in the studio with a singer, they'll come in and quote unquote ad lib and add something that the original artist wasn't even thinking about, and it stayed on the song. Well, in my world, that's a writer's credit because you put a word in. It may not be 50% of the song, but why not take 5% of a platinum selling
and vocal
single
arrangements.
and vocal arrangements? All of those credits add up. Resume.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying too. I agree.
Okay.
To answer your question.
Right.
They owe her beats.
They owe her beats.
And bread.
And credit.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Let me ask you. I'm gonna jump over here to J.Ivy.
Sway was like,
too much.
No, not at all.
No.
We had dinner.
Yes.
We had this round table dinner. I wish I could remember the name of the restaurant we were at, where all the Geminis were at the table.
wait, was this in February when you crashed there Valentine's Day that I yelled at you about?
No, I didn't crash there Valentine's Day.
Nah, this was in
We don't do
Ghana.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, this was in Accra. It was in
We
We do
Ghana.
Valentine's Day these
We was
days.
in Ghana. We were in
crashing
Ghana.
dinner. Okay.
Yeah, and we were having this amazing conversation. Do you recall when we all went and who was there? Mel was there. Everybody was there, and that's when I really got to know who you are. You know, and I think I might have hit J.Ivy and said, yeah, okay, I get it now.
No, I said that because we were in L.A. for Valentine, and Sway said he was going to an event. Remember the spoken word?
That was trap poetry. I invited them.
And we yelled at Sway because we was like, "How you crashing somebody's Valentine?" Because it was so he was like, "It's not one of those things. It was a trap." So that's what I'm teasing about. Yeah, it was perfect
because we don't,
do that. Yeah,
it's like
no, we accused him of being a third wheel.
Oh no. Not Super Bowl Sway. Not Super Bowl Sway.
No.
You know,
Well, that's Super
now,
Bowl
Sway,
had to be.
Sway made that holiday better because I normally don't do nothing on that day.
Oh, okay.
They got to get dressed up.
Yeah.
You know,
And then went out.
Kareem Grimes was with us.
Oh, right.
Lucky Day came.
Right.
Hung out with us.
Kurt Work.
That's right.
Kurt was in
Kurt
the
worked
building.
there. Kurt Williamson.
Candace.
All right. And,
Y'all had a whole party.
Justin Cox, who is the creator of trap poetry. That's one of my partners. You know, we had a really
Your
big
nephew? What's your nephew name?
Jay Walt was there.
Jay
Brought
Walt.
brought his team. So my friend Daphne and we had a good time. What is it like now? Being a Grammy Award winning artist, we hear a lot of stories. I'm trying to think of the story. I think it was J.Ivy Ohansu, and who talked about having pay disparities, and even though a lot of artists win these awards, you know, even when Monique won her Oscar, and it was like, you know, well, where's the accolade? We like the accolades, but where's the business?
Right.
Where's the money?
Right.
Like, what is this? What happens? You know, once you win a Grammy,
It gets busy. It gets busy. So. Phone's been ringing, been doing a lot of building on deals, a lot of interviews, a lot of planning for the future, because the doors are now wide open, and we want to make sure that we're representing the culture correctly, representing poets correctly. So even this tour is springboarded from the Grammy win. And that's just one example. Tonight, City Winery. Tonight.
25 11th Street, right off the Hudson.
Yeah, 25 11th Avenue, Hudson.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Hudson Park. Yeah, so, but it's just been a lot of opportunity, and it really just shows you, like, the power of manifestation. Like, you can really make your dreams come true. So now that we're at this point, it's like, okay, what else can we dream up? Like, what can we create? What doors can we open, you know, to make sure that, at least for me, like, to make sure that poets worldwide have an industry, and we have an infrastructure that exists where we can thrive and live from what we love to do.
Okay.
Jay, would you say a lot of the opportunities are direct from the win from the Grammy, or from so much work y'all been putting in before the Grammys? It seems like, you know, that part was like that from the okay, I got you.
Yeah. I mean, it's been years. You know, this started with, you know, on the scene in Chicago, to Def Poetry.
Right.
You know, that really kicked open the door. You know, Stan Lathan coming to check me out in L.A. and give me that opportunity. And then that led to the College Dropout and Never Let Me Down. Shout out to Cootie for hooking that up. And then it went to TV and just a lot of opportunities. So with the Grammy, it was a beautiful way for people to be like, man, you've been putting in work a long time.
Right, right.
And we see you. And I'm happy to be seen, and I'm excited about what's to come because it feels like a new beginning.
Who helps you to decide what your new rate is going to be?
Tarrey.
Okay.
Tarrey.
Yeah, we graduate those rates once a year, sometimes twice a year, just based on credibility and where in who we're working with and how it moves up the ladder.
As you should.
Just to make sure the brand is matching the quality of service that he's giving.
But come on,
So we got to move that rate up sometimes.
Yeah, and we're building the team too.
And we got to help people adjust to that rate because sometimes they be like, but last year, I'm like,
Yesterday's price.
It's not today's
That's
price.
what Heather
Heather
said
Big.
first.
Yep.
I should have got paid. It was
Writer's
stolen.
credit.
Period.
Come on now.
It was stolen.
I
She was a
believe
singer in the studio.
Yeah, I was the singer in the studio. Got jacked.
When I watch
Just the
URL,
truth.
right, with Smack, and shout out to Smack, man. That brother has done excellent with this legacy from the Smack DVDs, URL, and all the different things they do. And I watch how these rappers project and present their verses. It's different from being on a song, but to me, it's not much different from spoken word.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Man, my thoughts is be original, be free with your gift. Like for me, I always wanted. I come from a family of music. My pops was a DJ. I told you this before. My pops did radio, and he was a musician, and my uncle was a musician. So for me, music has always been a part of who I am. So when it comes to me presenting my poetry, I knew the music would have an opportunity to take it further. I can give you the verse, like even with running, it's one thing for me to give you the verse, and the words in themselves are dynamic. But then if I had an opportunity to rock with John Legend and Slick Rick and Verse and Excel, and we create something special, I feel like that would take that message and those words even further. So I always tell anybody, man, just be free with what it is you do, because you know, once you start overthinking the process, or once you get locked in and start sounding like other folk, you're not being true to who you are and the potential where that art can go.
Do you think the format of when you see URL and you see these different rappers battling, a cappella, right? Do you not think it's similar to spoken word?
Oh yeah, no, it's similar.
Is it the same thing? Like, could their
It's-
verses be considered spoken word?
I think it's, you had something, I heard the gas, but I think it's they first cousins. I mean, it's still it's rap.
Okay.
It's rap, but the presentation is that of spoken word.
Okay.
It's the cadence too,
Yeah.
because whereas rap follows a beat, whether it has music behind it or not, I think that poets don't have to have a beat, and they can you can still hear the rhythm in it, but it still doesn't need a beat. It doesn't have to have a set format.
So can spoken word be very competitive? Because you know how rap is always being compared to sports. You know what I'm saying? And obviously we've seen so many legendary battles over the years. Is there more camaraderie or competition when it comes to the spoken word community?
I think it's competitive in the sense of like we're competing against greatness. Like it's not I'm necessarily competing against you. So if I hear my brother Amir Suleiman do a poem,
Ooh, he came up here and made it put us in
Body,
tears.
Yeah.
you know,
I'm sorry, I got
I'm not,
excited.
Man, I'm not competing against Amir, but I am very much inspired by Amir because he is a force. And when it comes to my art, I want to be a force as well. So when you have poets like Ursula Rucker and Sonny Patterson and Mari Hartwig and Lemon Anderson, Black Ice, Jessica Care Moore, Red Storm, Georgia Me, Abyss. When you have these incredible poets, K Love, Emerald Green, Harold Green, like we are. It's more of a family.
Yeah.
It's more of a family. I'm inspired. I want to see everybody win.
Word.
You know, so the goal is to continue to create, be great, and then when I see other greatness, I'm gonna applaud that. I'm gonna cheer that on.
Let's go.
But I'm also being inspired. I'm not gonna bite, but I'm gonna be like,
That's-
yo,
yeah.
you coming with, I'm coming with it too. Like,
but there's a lot of biting.
Also the slam.
In poetry, it's a lot of biting though.
I mean, listen,
like
anything.
Look, people copy people's style,
Yeah,
bro.
they do it all the time.
And it becomes the format.
Yeah.
Like, and so everybody.
It's a sound.
Yeah.
It's a sound, right?
Yeah, there's a sound.
People bite, people borrow, and don't give back.
And don't pay.
No, and don't get back.
So is there
get that cup of sugar.
Is there any such thing as ghostwriting in spoken word? Are there people who get into like a lot of credit? Because in hip hop, there's these lists.
Yeah.
Da, 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 and you're like, well, they didn't write, they just didn't write, whatever, but they're the greatest. Does that work in spoken word?
I mean,
Maybe you want to comment on
I mean, I would imagine that there may be some, but I think when it comes to poets, like poets, it's a sport, an art of you being you and you being original to who you are. So to have somebody else write for you. I never really seen that unless it's a poet writing a song for somebody.
That's why I think spoken word is different than hip hop.
Okay.
In my opinion. That's the biggest difference because I've never heard it either. I've never heard of a ghostwriter in the spoken word. When another poet says this person is dope and I'm inspired, it's like you don't hear the shits like you do in hip hop. You know what I mean? And I think that's what separates y'all. Yeah. Like it's just this person, because hip hop was built on that. You thought that everybody was telling their truth and writing their shit and doing their thing. Right. But then you find out otherwise. So kudos to y'all for that
spoken
shit.
Word.
100.
Can you do a spoken word versus?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Create it.
Yo, Swiss, what's up?
That would be interesting, right?
You know,
let's get that cracking.
Poetry
Timberland, let's go.
It's like a quilt. It's tied to literature and the academia world. So you got this whole, family of ideas that's rolling, but you can't roll if it's not authored by somebody. And an author usually carries that spoken word moment. So it's hard to be a ghostwriter in that area. Now, if you do it, I would assume that would be considered plagiarism. Because it's connected to literature too.
Now, I have had lines bitten before.
Oh yeah, they did that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What lines have you gotten bitten?
Yeah.
Tell me what lines.
What was this line? I had this line.
Here you go.
It was something about Master P. Oh man, how that line? It was in the poem I got called Transformation, and say something na. Something, I forget the line, but I heard it in somebody else's poem one time.
Who did you hear? Whose poem was it?
You being messy.
You starting spoken word poetry beef.
I'm just curious, man.
There's no spoken word poetry beef.
Let me think where I've heard
So
that
you can't.
before.
So they didn't do it in a way to like give credit to you.
Oh
like,
no, it was the exact same line.
We
Like I
actually
have a
went
poem
to-
called "I Need to Write."
Yeah.
And like a lot of people have taken my poem. "I Need to Write" is I did it on Def Poetry. It was the first season, and I definitely have seen people take that poem
in Rwanda
and do their own version of it. I was sitting right there one time when my guy did it. I'm like, bro, I'm about to do my poem "I Need to Write."
He said, "My guy,"
and my guy was on stage doing "I Need to Write," and I'm like, bro,
that's my poem.
He did your poem in front of you?
He did his own version of
He didn't
"I
even
Need to
credit
Write,"
him.
but yeah.
He did it as if it was his own.
What was that convo like after?
Oh man, you inspired me, man. I love "I Need to Write." I be doing it at shows, and I was, oh yeah,
Plural. Shows.
Yeah. So it's
one, man.
It's a smile and nod moment though, because
So I guess back to the other question. I guess it does happen.
Who was your guy?
And is that still your guy?
That's the real question.
I'm rooting them on. Just don't do "I Need to Write" because that's me.
That's you.
Damn. But at the same time, though, people do "Phenomenal Woman" all the time. People have done "Never Let Me Down" all the time. But usually people give credit. When you're doing somebody else's poem, they'll say this is a poem by J.Ivy. I've seen it at graduations. I've seen it all over the place. So I guess it's cracking up. It's a compliment, really. It's a compliment that somebody would find it.
Low roll.
Get off
Take
that.
the low
You're
roll,
Grammy
Jay.
Award winning, man.
Take the low roll. It's cool.
Hey, Jay, you got the Grammy. You don't have to be scared no more.
Hey man, y'all
You gotta
Hey,
treat
all right.
people kind though, because
Yes.
maybe they just didn't have the right information for the
Nah.
The thing about it to me is like the person that created it knows though. Like
Right.
how you
Yeah.
sitting here acting like I didn't say that. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna give me no credit. Somebody should say J.Ivy or I heard so and so say
Yeah.
this, and give
He
them
just
the
need
credit.
a nudge on etiquette.
That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
Yeah.
a nudge on etiquette, yo.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't.